Because there's a whole part of our game that literally exists because of our fans that we can talk about. But like,
let's talk about it.
Okay, well, let's talk about it. We make a very social game. The multiplayer game is incredibly social, and our fans love it. But one part of the game that literally only exists because of our fans is our zombies. It was a passion project inside the studio that totally should never have, you know, in any sort of like, I probably shouldn't even be here as a studio head because I let this thing happen. So, you know, it's a fun new game co-op mode, and I'm like, whoa. Like, this hasn't been greenlit. Like, what's going on, you know?
Let's get the obvious out of the way. Yes, I do think modern zombies sucks. A lot, actually. And I do think classic zombies will never be topped.
Black Ops 6, I like it, I enjoy playing it, but to be honest, it doesn't really have anything on OG COD Zombies.
Treyarch need to stop making zombies. I'm just kidding. Before people call me out in my comments, no. I think Treyarch should definitely still make zombies. I mean, for crying out loud, they're the studio who made Call of Duty Zombies in the first place. So why is it I'm saying Treyarch need to stop making zombies? Well, keep in mind, while I did say they need to stop making zombies, I don't think they should stop making zombies forever. I'm just pointing out the fact that every zombies mode that we have gone from the past 5 years have all been made by Treyarch from 2020 all the way to where we are now with 2025, soon to be Black Ops 7 Zombies. And before that, the last zombies game before 2020 was also made by Treyarch too, with Black Ops 4 Zombies. Treyarch have been non-stop working hard on their own games, whilst also working on zombies modes for other Call of Duty studios on their games, like Sledgehammer with Call of Duty Vanguard for Vanguard Zombies, and Modern Warfare 3 2023 for Sledgehammer for Modern Warfare Zombies, which is nuts. Now personally, I loved Cold War Zombies and BO6 Zombies, and I will probably like BO7 Zombies, but I can't help but know that all the developers at Treyarch are being overworked like crazy. So let me explain as to why I think Treyarch should stop making zombies, at least for now. Back in 2018, we got the release of Black Ops 4, a game with no campaign, the introduction to Battle Royale, multiplayer, and of course, zombies. 4 zombies maps on launch, by the way, and we are only talking about zombies here with Black Ops 4, and whether you like Black Ops 4 Zombies or not, we can all agree that the launch of Black Ops 4 Zombies was terrible. Constant blue screens and bugs, and just not a good time.
You deserve to
which made a lot of people hate the game a lot. But if we just put the glitches and the blue screens behind us and all that stuff, people didn't like BO4 because of the mechanics. Most people did not like the new perk system, especially with the removal of Jug, the weird change for the points system, having to pack a punch into level 5 times just for your gun to be at max strength, spawning in with a specialist instead of going in for a quest, making you already OP at the start of your game, the HUD having to use the points to buy the shield instead of getting it for free like you used to in Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 2. Just all around, a lot of people did not like these changes. And then of course, we get the introduction of the Chaos story, which people did not like until Ancient Evil, and having 2 stories at launch with 2 maps on Ether and 2 maps on Chaos completely split the community. And as time has went on, I definitely do think the Chaos story should have been linked with Ether. That way people would be more interested and the community wouldn't be so split on what story to follow, especially with Chaos story elements making its return with the hint that we got from Shunum Reborn, that and the big focus of Black Ops 6 Zombie story with the return of the Sentinel artifact. So all around, as much as I personally love Black Ops 4 Zombies, a lot of the community didn't. As for the maps themselves on BO4 Zombies for launch, people didn't like Voyage. 9 was the best map out of the 4, Blood of the Dead was hated a shit ton because it wasn't as good as Mob of the Dead, and a lot of people didn't like its Easter egg, and then Classified was good too, serving its purpose as a good bonus map. Except for the round 150 Easter egg, that shit was awful. Then we get to the DLC maps. Dead of the Night releases out of nowhere with no marketing whatsoever. This map was hated a crap ton, and not cause of the no marketing. People hate it because it was a prequel to Voyage of Despair, because people wish they had Dead of the Night on launch instead of Voyage. Then people complained about having too many parts to collect. Then people also complained about the crew not being good also. But the wonder weapon and the way the maps looked was cool. Though I don't hate day and night, it definitely isn't like a top 5 zombies map of all time either. So from launch to BO4's first DLC, everyone was upset and saw this game as a huge failure. But then the ray sunshine of hope that is Ancient Evil blessed us. Well, this wasn't the peak of BO4, it was nearly there, continuing from where it left off with 9. We are in the undergrounds of Delphi, and the map has 2 sides, being a light side and a dark side, with 4 different elemental gauntlets to serve as the wonder weapons. On top of that, the Chaos story was at its peak, actually being interesting and getting people invested, and that boss fight was amazing too. It sucks because this was the last time we saw the Chaos crew stuck at a cliffhanger, never to be seen again. Then comes the peak of Black Ops 4 Zombies, Alpha Omega. Now, before a lot of people hate me for saying Alpha Omega was the peak of BO4, you gotta understand BO4 was just getting on its 2 feet with Ancient Evil, but people still didn't care because it was the Chaos story. But now it was Aether's turn, with both Primus and Ultimus being the crew we play as in this map, a map that was a remake of Nuketown Zombies. People weren't happy over the map, but were happy that the Aether crew were back after a couple months. And as for the map itself, personally, it wasn't the best, but it was a good chill map to play on, and the story on the map was good, as it was praised by a lot of people in the community, especially when it came to the quotes between Primus and the Ultimus characters. Then came Tag the Toten, the end of the Aether story, the finale of it all, and we are playing as none other than Victus, the transit crew. A lot of people were upset by this, as we just got a map with both Primus and Ultimus, and on top of that, people were also disappointed that another remake was the final map of Aether, and that remake was none other than Call of the Dead, my personal favourite Black Ops 1 Zombies map of all time. Tag fixed all the issues in regards to Call of the Dead's layout, whilst also adding in new areas too. The story was good on this map, but a lot of people weren't happy that we didn't get a boss fight to end off, and it was just nothing but collecting souls. Then we get to the end cutscene to figure out it's not CGI once again, continuing from Alpha Omega, which ticked a lot of people in the Zombies community off. But me personally, I still thought the art of the end cutscene to Tag was beautiful, and the finale of the cutscene showed Sam and Eddie walking into a new universe where zombies didn't exist, which would be the world where the campaign happens, being free of everything from the Aether. Or so they thought. 2 years later, Black Ops Cold War Zombies released, and this had a lot of shoes to fill. After Black Ops 4 Zombies, as a lot of people hated the ending of the Aether story, and hated Black Ops 4 Zombies as a whole. So Black Ops Cold War had to be a big turnaround for the Zombies community, and I do say they'd done a pretty decent job, but what we didn't know is that we're stepping into a completely new era of zombies. Everything we knew from classic zombies had been forgotten from here on out. People were also worried because this game was made in just a year, and this was during the pandemic in 2020. So this was worrying for a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people. But for just one map release and a lot of changes made to the mode, a lot of people were more positive on Cold War's launch compared to that of Black Ops 4's. But just because a lot of people were happy doesn't mean the game was fantastic. Cold War had no set crew you could play as, made a completely new point system, brought back Jug but got rid of double tap, and introduced rarities. The box on this game was terrible, giving you duplicates of weapons but with different attachments every time. The game was easier compared to most other zombies games, and the end cutscene was the map exploding and just as X-filling. God, were people not happy with this, especially when the Easter egg was solved in 2 hours. Then, going on from that, we got Firebase C, and yeah, the map is not loved by many, but the story I will say improved, because unironically I do like Peck and we did get to see Sam, which was cool, but most other things no one really liked. For example, within Firebase C, the mimics, or the order spawning in every 30 rounds, or having rounds that meant for you have to defend against a horde of zombies coming out of dark ether portals. In general, most people just did not like Firebase C. Unless your name is Clippy IDK. Then came the Great War of the Zombies community, round-based versus Outbreak. Outbreak, in my opinion, was a cool new way to play zombies. Instead of eliminating zombies per round to progress to get up to higher rounds, you're given an objective each round, and to move on to the next round within Outbreak, you actually need to complete that said objective, which was a cool idea, just never fell through, and it could have been a lot more better and could have been improved upon. Outbreak had 2 Easter eggs, and honestly, they were alright, but Outbreak was treated as DLC 2 for Cold War, leaving us with only 2 more round-based maps, and a lot lot of people were not happy about that, leaving the Zombies community, new and old members, fighting over which was better, round-based or Outbreak. But then came the peak of Core Zombies, DLC 3's Maradotone, rated as one of, if not the best modern zombies map, putting us in the location from the campaign, but I didn't really see anyone complain about that, and the story was getting really interesting. The map was bright and vibrant and fun, along with the main Easter egg, and the Wonder Weapons too were also fun. Maradotone was such a good and memorable experience, to the point where me and my friends stayed up super late at night just waiting for the map to release, and I streamed for 17 hours on that map. It was just that fun. Then came Forsaken, the end of Core Zombies. While granted not as good as Maradotone and the whole map being from the red light green light mission from the campaign, the map still had an amazing wonder weapon, cool side quest, and a pretty decent boss fight, with a nice ending to this new era of zombies. We then get told we would begin a prequel to Cold War Zombies, and it would be on the game called Call of Duty Vanguard, a game made by Sledgehammer. So naturally you would think Sledgehammer would be the ones to make the zombies mode and would help out Treyarch with the Dark Ether story. No, the whole Zombies game mode was made in 4 months and the game was completely made by Treyarch. And that's where the main point of this video comes in. Treyarch should not have made Vanguard Zombies. It should have been made by Sledgehammer, either focusing on everything when it comes to the maps, the gameplay mechanics, and just have Treyarch focus on the story. Or make a Zombies game that has nothing to do with the Dark Ether story at all, for crying out loud. The first map did not have a Pack-Punch camo, wonder weapon, no main quest, and the biggest part, no round-based. You could honestly say Durham Fong is the launch and DLC 1 of Vanguard Zombies, because Fawn's List Office was delayed by a whole month to be added to the map, which then led to the main quest being added, but it made it so the main quest was unlocking a round-based version of Durham Fong, which is cool, but still, this was awful, ranking it as one of the worst Zombies modes and maps of all time by the community, and in my opinion, Vanguard Zombies did get better over time, just it wasn't enough. Modern Warfare 2 2022 was announced to be the next game with no zombies, which meant Treyarch had a whole year to focus on themselves, and hell, maybe even more, as Sledgehammer was leaked to make the next COD game afterwards, which was Modern Warfare 3 2023. Kinda like how Sledgehammer were the ones who made the original Modern Warfare 3, and because it's Modern Warfare, you'd assume there'd be no zombies, right? No, Zombies was made once again, and when this was first announced, I was hyped because it's the Modern Warfare series. I genuinely thought this was going to be a Sledgehammer Zombies game, and the first time we'd see a unique zombie story for the first time in a while, separate from the Treyarch zombie story currently being in the Dark Ether, but I was wrong about that. Treyarch were making zombies for Modern Warfare 3 2023, and this game had no round-based from start to finish at all, unlike Vanguard where it actually did include round-based for its last 2 maps. And unironically, for a game that did not have round base, it done its job well, and the story in the game takes place far into the future after Cold War, Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7. And the story, well, simple in my opinion, I thought it was okay. But Treyarch stopped working on Modern Warfare Zombies after Season 2, leaving Sledgehammer to work on the rest of Modern Warfare Zombies, which I am very glad on, as Sledgehammer cooked with how they made the story missions and rewards from a gameplay perspective, especially the Entity boss fight, but fuck that unstable riff. So honestly, Modern Warfare Zombies was okay, but mostly bad. Then came a full Treyarch title for the first time in 4 years, and people had high expectations. As the last time Treyarch had a lot of development time, it turned out being one of the best CODs of all time, if not the best, and that COD was none other than Black Ops 3. So Black Ops 6 had great marketing and was full of hype, and the launch was phenomenal. Black Ops 6 Zombies brought back a crew, full round-based gameplay, and no outbreak whatsoever. The story became a lot more interesting, and the game launched with 2 maps, one being a bit more hardcore, that being Terminus, and one being a more chill, laid-back map experience, Liberty Falls. All around, it was great, and DLC 1 for Black Ops 6 was Citadel Daymore, and this map is so much fun. While granted it's not as good as Der Eisendrache, it's still great, and it just showed that BO6 Zombies was in for a good ride. At least that's what we thought. The Tomb was released for Season 2 for Black Ops 6 Zombies and was a letdown. The map was described as a similar experience like Liberty Falls, but they didn't go into much depth for it. But the story from here on out went downhill. Hardly any character quotes, ice staff appearing out of nowhere, no more explanations as to why the Sentinel artifact is attacking us in its boss fights, or really no in-depth story or hints behind the Sentinel artifact's abilities, and no one talking in the outro cutscene. Overall, as much as I personally have fun on the Tomb, the Zombies community was faced with disappointment, along with the cast of the crew going on strike because of AI. Then Shattered Veil releases, and everyone is happy once again. The story started to pick itself up again, we got the return of Richtofen, the mansion and the map itself is cool. A lot of people rank Shattered Veil is one of the best modern zombies maps ever, alongside Mare de Tone, especially facing off against a C-Rex boss. Like, it is so good. Grief then became the main part for Season 4 of Black Ops 6 Zombies, and while it was fun and I'm glad it is back, my only problem with Grief was it having no private matches. Aside from that, everything else with Grief in Black Ops 6 Zombies was fun. Then came Reckoning, the big finale of Black Ops 6 Zombies, and it's at Janus Towers. While I do like Liberty Falls, Shattered Veil and Reckoning, I just did not appreciate how we had 3 maps in the exact same location 3 goddamn times in just one game, but I wasn't going to let that stop me from enjoying the finale of Reckoning. But this is where everyone, and I mean everyone, blew a fuse with the story. But I'll get back to that. The map itself is fun. When you first play it, the map layout can be confusing, but when you figure it out, it isn't that bad. The Wonder Weapon quest, well, it doesn't have a good ending to the Forsaken. The Wonder Weapon quest itself is amazing, and this map took 8 hours to solve. This was the longest modern zombies map to ever be solved for its main quest, and it was a lot of fun. But then there was speculation saying that there was 2 endings, 2 boss fights, 2 sides to the Easter egg, just like Black Ops 2 Zombies with its Victus maps like Transit, Die Rise and Buried. That's when a lot of people started to get hyped. I remember my friend Not Soups getting excited when he heard there may be 2 endings to the map like BO2, which got me happy because Soups is not the biggest fan of zombies like he once was. So to see someone get excited for zombies again was good to see, and it was true. We had 2 boss fights, and those boss fights were the Sand boss fight and the Richtofen boss fight. The Sand boss fight being a lot more easier, and the Richtofen boss fight being seriously difficult. All of the boss fights in BO6 are phenomenal, and Reckoning is no different. But then comes the ending. If you beat Sam, Richtofen's family comes back to life, showing the Sentinel artifact, teleporting her crew, and open up the multiverse. If you beat Richtofen, Sam becomes a human, the Sentinel artifact transports her crew, and the Sentinel artifact opens up the multiverse. The Zombies community till this day is unsure which ending is canon, but the last half of both endings are the same, with the characters being transported to the Dark Ether and seeing the new version of the OG4, and a lot of people lost their shit. First of all, this isn't the characters we saw die at the end of Attack the Tone. This is the new version of the OG4, but we saw the multiverse get closed off thanks to the summoning key and the elemental shard at the end of Attack the Tone. So how is it open? Well, I did say the Sentinel artifact opened up the multiverse, and the reason I said that is because when the Sentinel artifact opens up this weird looking blue portal at the end of the Reckoning cutscene, it looks exactly like the multiverse at the end of Attack the Tone when it was getting closed off. But this was never confirmed in Black Ops 6 Zombies, and speaking of that, Black Ops 6 Zombies failed at giving no explanation for its story from the Tomb and onwards, and a lot of people looked at BO6 as a failure. But we just can't look at BO6 as a failure just cause of its story. It had good maps in my opinion, great boss fights, and an improvement from Core's mechanics, and more. But was it enough to say Call of Duty Zombies is back? No. Treyarch then announced an Xbox Live show or premiere showing Black Ops 7 will be the next COD. Back to back Treyarch games. What is going on? I feel bad for Treyarch. They are being overworked like crap, and the blame is completely on Activision. And after this, Treyarch deserves a break. But I will say this, BO7 from Campaign, Multiplayer and Zombies looks fantastic. And there was confirmation from Charlie Intel when asking questions to Treyarch devs on why BO6 is the way it is. Treyarch devs made it sound like they couldn't change things to make the game better. And Mr. Waffle Waffles had a conversation with Joey Conway, and Milo stated how locking Mr. Peaks behind an event was awful. And Treyarch made it very obvious how they knew it was awful and a bad idea, which further proves that Treyarch had no creative freedom of their own game because of Activision. But at I'm Ilex, a reliable source leaker on Twitter stated recently that Treyarch seemed to have a lot more creative freedom in BO7 compared to BO6, which is absolutely great to hear. The lead head for multiplayer is always replying and looking at feedback for BO7 multiplayer, and Zombies, while some changes I disagree with, the biggest thing is that they are bringing back classic mechanics of Zombies to an extent, as its own mode, called Curse Mode. While the mode may not be perfect, Treyarch did state in their blog post that the Curse Mode was made thanks to the feedback from the Zombies community, which once again proves that they are listening. And they did state also that the main focus of Black Ops 7 is to go really hard with the maps, making them all great, which is amazing to hear. Now, as hyped as I am for BO7 Zombies, everything I've talked about in this video so far has been about Treyarch making zombies for the past 7 years, which is from Black Ops 4 to where we are now, and that includes on working on Zombies modes that isn't even on a Treyarch main COD title, in this case Modern Warfare 3 2023 in Vanguard. So no, I do not think Treyarch should stop working on Zombies permanently, they just need to stop for a while, a break even, and from what it sounds like, that is what we're gonna get for the next game for COD 2026. And it's been leaked to be Modern Warfare 4 made by Infinity Ward, and the same applies for Call of Duty 2027 being another Sledgehammer title and no zombies. And me personally, I'm glad, simply because Treyarch aren't working on either of these two games for zombies, making it so Treyarch will have full development for their next game in Call of Duty 2028. But this doesn't mean I don't want zombies in Modern Warfare 4 or Sledgehammer as it's called. I want them to have zombies, just not made by Treyarch. Let Infinity Ward make a new zombies mode with a new story that isn't made by Treyarch, and let Sledgehammer do the same. But the reason why they probably won't do it is because the last few times both Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer made their own zombies modes, it wasn't received well until years later. Infinite Warfare Zombies is the biggest proof of this. So Treyarch, please keep making zombies for COD, just make it so you're only making zombies for your own COD games, and not Sledgehammer or Infinity Wards. Let them make their own, and if they want to make their games to tie into the Dark Ether story, fine. But the only thing Treyarch should work on in that regard is the story, nothing else. Maps, gameplay and everything else aside from the story should be done by Sledgehammer and Infinity Ward. But if that wasn't to happen, then Treyarch, please just make zombies for your own games so you have more staff and more development times on your own COD games to make them even greater, as I and many others wouldn't want Treyarch to stop making zombies. We absolutely want more Treyarch zombies. We just want Treyarch zombies for Treyarch COD titles, not Infinity Ward COD titles or Sledgehammer COD titles. And that is why I say Treyarch should stop making zombies for now, after BO7, not forever. Now, I did ask your guys' thoughts on Twitter on what you guys think about Treyarch currently making zombies as of right now, and this is what you guys said. We got one from Too Bad for Xbox, and he said, L so far, they need to add sex into BO7 zombies. I'm begging, please. I mean, they added in a classic mode. If he keeps begging, then maybe it'll happen. We got one from Dubbed Out, and he says, as someone who's played since World at War, I think this is a great for the casual players, but the hardcore players are kind of being forced to play content that just feels like backtracked as far as depth goes. I like maps like Shadows where figuring out path alone took time. I think a good way to handle this would be to go full Final Reich with the quest casual / hardcore. I even feel the casual quest for the Final Reich is more unique and involved than most. Cold War / Black Ops 6 adds, while also guiding players, there's a way to please both audiences. They just gotta figure that out. And honestly, I agree. And directing mode is definitely a good way of that. You know, directing mode is like the casual egg, like Final Reich, and then the standard mode is like the hardcore quest. But the difference between, you know, the hardcore quest and the BO6 eggs not being on directing mode is that directing mode and standard mode have the same steps, whereas hardcore mode added in more steps, and those more steps would lead into higher difficulty, which I do think Treyarch should do. So honestly, that's a good shout there. We got one from Tin Horn, and Tin Horn said, they found a gameplay loop that's really good, but in order to keep things fresh, they need unique things in each map. Reusing wonder weapons, drip feeding reused features, etc. isn't doing them any favours in that department. And I definitely do agree. One of the few things I hate about modern zombies at the moment is that we're getting stuff that we got from Cold War Zombies launch coming back now as DLC. For instance, Frostblast. Why is that now coming back as a DLC for BO6 Zombies? And then of course we're getting stuff like Death Perception Depression that was on the launch of Modern Warfare Zombies, why is it now coming back as a DLC, especially when it's twice as worse? Cold War's Death Procession was great. Why is Death Procession on BO6 garbage? So 100% agree. We got one from Dark Ops, and Dark Ops says, as is, seems like they've got their priorities backwards. Yes, carrying over Easter egg opera skins are nice. Yes, carrying over Gobblegums is nice, but these are quality of life things. The core components, armor, rarities, poise system, loadouts, HUD, have effectively stagnant the mode. I definitely do agree. From Cold War and onwards, the mode has completely switched it up. But with this cursed mode, I definitely do think things can change. But we'll just see how it plays out. We got one from Cole, and Cole says, I personally really like the modern systems, and I don't get where the idea comes from that BO6 is easy. Like bro, if you're not loading in, I'm with crazy ultra guns and have Rampage and Duster on, and don't have good augments. Good luck, honestly. I think it's for people that have really mainly grinded out augments and all that stuff, and shout out to MC Zombie Slayer, like he's one of, if not the best high round player, and I've always seen him point out that every high round is basically the same. Spam mutant injections. Like that genuinely sounds the easiest shit for zombies in the world. And most of Black Ops 6 Zombies is just camping. The biggest thing for high rounds is that there was better ways to do high rounds. There was multiple ways. Not you could do camping, you could do training, whereas Black Ops 6, the real only way to do high rounds is if you just do a mutant injection and camp. So maybe that's why the Easter eggs themselves, while granted is an improvement from Cold War, I still think they are easy, but that's just how I feel personally. All in all, Treyarch, keep making zombies, please. And I love you guys at Treyarch. I'm loving from what I'm seeing for BO7 Zombies so far. I can't wait to play it for the beta. The beta might even be out by the time I post this video, but all in all, I wish nothing but the luck for the future of Treyarch Zombies. Just make sure you're working on zombies for your own Call of Duty titles, please. Base guys, thank you all so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, please subscribe, leave a like, click the notification bell, always do it to the channel. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you within the next video live stream. And goodbye.